Ooh. I don't know if you guys have anything to say. I was thinking I shouldn't take so much time from discussion because this is something that jury has to speak, but then I'm like, no, city and EU community, everyone speaks. So I'm gonna say something. First thing that captured my attention is how the camera moves for the first time in the city with the character, and we don't even see the camera through the reflections. Like they pass through the doors and we don't see how the camera and anyone who's capturing those shots, the continuity of scenes and the overlay of music, how that delirium stage ends and then the music hops in from different tunes and that delirious city noise still comes in and hops back from the moment and the interaction of the character within the places. I don't know, it's just it's a quality way of putting things together. I was there and I felt how the person, the character interacted with that delirious city and also the fairy tale as the way it's written.
For me, it was particularly like powerful the way they were kind of defining and describing their relationship with the city by focusing on the absence of that city, the departure from the city and the escape into some place that was kind of less chaotic. I think that was really a powerful choice by them, and it kind of portrayed what they experienced pretty effectively.
Yeah, I thought that this film actually did a really good job. I've been kind of making notes on sound and music and video and how it all kind of comes together, but they did a really good job at building a crescendo towards the end that, um, you know, kind of in reference to the other film where I was like, the music was too on. The music was saying, be sad when the performance should just make us sad or feel away. This, the music, the soft piano, and then it kind of crescendoed and it he's running and then it escalated to it all came together. The visual and the music, what they were working together, and that was really nice. There were some jump zooms and some transition little issues and some focus issues, um, mainly when with like it seemed like he was in that hallway for like days because of it felt like a time lapse. Like it was, when you do like the transition to the transition and you're in the same place, our minds just think, oh, he must have been there for days, which was kind of funny for me at least. But I actually also thought that one thing that could have changed this film, and I mean, it's really good. It's a nice like story arc here. One thing that could have like really just done it for me is like kill all the dialogue. There should be no talking at all. That would have been such a like we can cut the dialogue in the beginning when he's like, "Hello, this is." We can cut that. Hey, just make it a silent film because the music really does take centerfold, and he's such a interesting human. The actor has a really interesting face. It looks good on film. Um, but yeah, I loved hearing the different sounds as he was walking down the hallway. I thought that that also spoke to kind of like the sounds of the city indoors. I mean, it's smart. There's a lot of interesting camera movements from different angles, which maybe you don't need as much. It's such a simple film, anyways. I felt like the camera was kind of low, and it's like, why do we need a low angle? Then it was like kind of right here. Like, why do we need this? But I did feel like it was it spoke to the movement. If you're trying to just uh, communicate that there's a lot of movement and the city is like very fast paced. But with him, I thought this film was simple, nice, you know, funny to me. I really like this one.
I second a lot of what Bridget is saying. I think this would have been phenomenal as like a very minimal dialogue situation. Um, I think with this, again, there's like really great camera work. There was effort put into sound design, which I very much appreciate. And also to kind of piggyback on what Bridget's saying, I think this is somebody who's like, I want to do this and I want to do this. And a lot of that shows up in the edit. Whereas if some of these shots would have been taken out, it would have made for a much tighter story. I don't think it needed to be as long. And I think that with that chase, if those cuts would have been quicker, it would have built the tension for us. Like, is he gonna catch this girl? And I think it would have been nice at the end to end up back outside, and then maybe have that one hey. So with this, I think a lot of the work that was done during pre-production is really, really fantastic. So I think it really comes down to like tightening the edit. And if the edit is tighter, then you have like this really dynamic story and this chase scene that's also a love story that is doing all of these things. But I think that this it's successful in a lot of ways. So I appreciate that. And I do appreciate the effort that's put into like the sound design and the camera work and the production and really trying to tell a full story.
I do agree with everything that Bridget and Brianna has said. I definitely commend Jingyu for his production quality. The fact that this is the first film so far that we've seen like a really highlighting the actor and his like really journey throughout. I mean, I thought that was kind of hinted at in Masked, but I think Rendezvous does a good job kind of following the actor a little bit more throughout. What I am interested in is this notion. In the description, he says it's a fairy tale for humans living in a delirious cities. But I mean, my question is it delirious? Because the definition of the word is like intoxication and chaos. And, you know, Rem Koolhaas writes Delirious New York as this kind of crazy science experiment of all these like urban experiments. But in here, it's very organized. It's rooms in a hallway. It's you know, there's technology involved. And to kind of continue on this Rem Koolhaas kind of narrative, he documents the City Athletic Club in New York as this kind of vertical urbanism with the elevator as acting as a portal to a new kind of narrative, new story each floor that you arrive on. It's like a portal to another dimension. And in this film, I thought it did a good job kind of turning that vertical narrative into a horizontal narrative. As I think Bridget had mentioned, it's like you walk down a hallway, you hear all these different sounds. It's really capturing the essence of the city. But in this case, you know, he's walking down a hall and experiencing that rather than going up an elevator and each floor being one's a disco, the other is a restaurant, so on and so forth. And then I think using Claire de Lune as like this soft piano soundtrack really does kind of illuminate the idea that this is in fact a love story, that he's he fell in love immediately as he heard her playing the piano and wanted to see who she was. But how does this connect to the beginning? He picks up the phone. It looks like he was in an architecture office. He picks up the phone. It sounded very professional. It's like a business rendezvous. That's what I thought it was at first. So I had it set up my mind throughout the entire film to think, oh, he's meeting someone for business. So which was like, I got a little confused when Claire de Lune started playing and then he started chasing the girl. I just thought that I got a little lost there. But it would be nice to kind of connect it back to the beginning. I think that would have been helpful.
I'm going to, again, say that this is a film that I won't be scoring because I've seen it in my class, but I want to reinforce what the fellow jury is saying. The production values are commendable. It has all of the earmarks of a film that we can recognize because of its realism and because of its plausibility, except the problem is its plausibility, that, as Andrew has pointed out, exactly what is he doing and why does it take him so long to go from the top to the bottom when she's in an elevator? We have to suspend our disbelief to some extent and say, we get what you're trying to do, but it's not quite being done. But all of the pieces are there, and all of the ways of making those pieces are correct in terms of the sound, in terms of the camera work, in terms of the construction of the sequences. but it's just not quite completely cooked. And at the same time, we are involved, and we will say, oh, you know, he has some reason to be doing what he's doing, and there is the payoff. And so it does 90% of what it would do if it were 100% successful, which is a way of saying that I think it really works well. But then there's the qualifications. So that's my comment.